So hello students. So today we will study the topic need for an operating system. Now, as we have discussed that operating system is an interface between the application program and the hardware. So you can see that an operating system encompasses means it contains different operations that is what to do, is what you want to do on the computer, when to do, and how to do, and how it will be done on the computer. So suppose if you have to perform an action based stunt during the game. So you simply just press the required buttons in orders. Either you are using the arrow keys or some other combination of keys. So this information is passed to the operating system and which takes care of the final outcome by handling. So your action what you have pressed the key that is passed to the processor CPU who passes this operating system. So this information is passed to the operating system which take care of the final outcome by handling. So what to do? Now see, to perform a set of moves for the game character. So it performs the movement for a game. If he wants to move forward, backward, he wants to jump. And when to do? When the required buttons are pressed in a correct sequence. So if in a correct sequence you press that button, then only that action will be performed. Next is how to do. So through proper communication with the application software and instructing it about the correct motion of the player as seen on the screen. So here means operating system also looks about that how the actions will be do, how to do, means that is the proper communication. So whatever the event you generate that will be translated or that will be decoded by the operating systems and it will decide that how this event will be performed. So it instruct the processor to execute that instructions, instructing it about the correct motion of the player as you seen on the screen. Okay. So next thing we'll see that the functions of the operating system. Okay. So some functions are also there as you can see. So let us see what are the some popular functions. Now functions of the operating system. You can see the processor management. So one functions of the operating system is the processor management, second is the memory management, third you can see the device management, file management and security and error detection. Okay. So all these are the operations functions of the operating system that we will study today's topic. Now see, first, processor management. So the CPU, that is the central processing unit, that is the processor. That processor is managed by the operating system only. So operating system see manage the working of the processor by allocating the various jobs to it. So whenever we want to open one or more than one applications, so all that applications are the jobs for the CPU. So that operating system manages to allocate the means to assign the job to the CPU. Now that it depends on the programming of the operating system that it will allocate the CPU to one job for how much time. So maybe that is for each job it is assigning the CPU for maybe that is the 6 microsecond. So in a cycle, the first 6 microsecond will be given to the job 1 and the next 6 microsecond will be given to the job 2 and similarly job 3. Now in the same manner, because 6 microsecond is a very small interval of time, so it is difficult to analyze that your process is running sequentially one by one. It appears that your whole application is running simultaneously at one time. Concurrently all are running. It appears but it doesn't happen so. Suppose three process you have opened, three programs you have opened. Now the processor is given to each program, each application for 6 microseconds. So for the first 6 microsecond, program 1 will execute. For the next 7 12 microsecond, program B, and for the next 13 to 18 microsecond, program C. Now again 19 to 24 microsecond, again program A will be given. So this will work in a cyclic manner. Okay. So it also ensures that each process and application receives enough time by the processor to function properly. So that it also ensures that each process and application what you have opened receives enough time by the process. It does not happen. So suppose three process you have opens and only the whole processor time is given to the one program, one application, and other two are in the waiting state. So they will go in the starvation state, means suppose 3 hours 4 hours passed away, but they haven't got the time. So that is the switching of the processor is needed. Okay, so it is this process rather than applications which are controlled, managed and executed by the operating system. So all these processes, applications are controlled, managed and executed by the operating system only. Okay, next is the memory management. So operating system also manages the sharing of the internal memory among multiple applications. So all the internal memory that is in the RAM or in the hard disk, so everything is managed by the operating system. It also takes care of the fact that one process should not consume the memory allocated to another process. Suppose 3 or 4 processes you initiated, you opened. So the process A should not use the memory allocated to the process B. So that operating system takes care. Okay. So it also takes the care of the fact that one process should not consume the memory allocated to another process. An operating system has to make efficient utilization of the different types of the memory. That is the RAM, random access memory, and the cache memory. Cache memory is the fastest memory of the computer, which is very close to the CPU. So within the system to ensure the proper execution of every process. So now see, as here a diagram is given, very good diagram, functions of the operating system. Now here you see the file management, where all the files is stored in our computer. So all the files address this operating systems tracks. And also processor management, which you studied, memory management, all the memory allocated to the processes and programs is also managed by the operating system. Device management, so all the hardwares, either printer, scanner, keyboard, mouse, webcam, every hardware is managed by this operating system. Job scheduling, how the task is being given to the processor. Some priority is decided by the operating system. Error detections, so suppose you are given the command for the print but printer is not attached, so it will also display you the proper message. Next you see the Vinod Tham is the popularly known as the father of the Pentium, so for his role in the development in the Pentium processor. So that is the first person who has developed the Pentium processor. Now the device management. So an operating system controls the working of all the input and output devices. So your all input and output devices are managed by the device operating system only. So it receives the request from these devices and perform the specific task and communicates back to the requesting process. So if we are giving the typing the any letter, suppose letter A we have typed from the keyboard, that is the input device. Now that input is taken by the operating system and it interprets, given to the processor, and decision will be taken, and after that it will display on the screen that how it will be printed. Okay, so next is the file management. File management is the operating system keeps track of information regarding the creation, deletion, transfer and copy and storage of files in an organized way. If suppose any file you created, so its address will be stored, so operating system will keep track where the file is saved. Okay, so also it keep track the transfer of file from where to where it is transferred, from where it is copied. So if you delete it also, so that also it will handle, it will delete the file for you. It also maintains the integrity of the data stored in these files, including the file directory structures. So it maintains the hierarchical structure you will find in the file explorer, that is managed by the operating system in a hierarchical manner, like in the folder and the subfolder you create, like this it organize the files. Next, the security. The operating system provides various techniques that assures the integrity and confidentiality of the user's data. So what are the security measures which are used to protect the user's data from the threats and intrusions? So first of all, operating systems gives you the access to your system through the login and password. So protection against unauthorized access. No third person who is not authorized, who is not knowing the login and password, cannot access your computer, cannot work on your computer. So the protection against intrusion by keeping the firewall active. So it also keeps the firewall active, so some other virus, suppose if you wants to enter in your computer while you are working on the internet, it will give you the proper message. Okay, next, third, protection against the malicious access to system memory. So if any malicious access, suppose any hacker or some other persons always trying to access to your computers, again will give the message. So you will be alert if you are not, if suppose any application or program you have left open, so you close it immediately. Fourth, displaying message related to the system vulnerability. If suppose there is any weakness in your system, means vulnerability means what here, the, so suppose if there any program or any, as the in our computer there are many ports, so there are many ports, so more than 100 ports are there, like for the port number 80 we are using for the hypertext transfer protocol HTTP. Similarly, through any port one can enter to your computer, so it display the messages. We are not knowing, and sometimes we our computer many ports are open, it is public, so one can access, one can enter through your computer by making establishing the connection through that port. So you display the proper message to the system vulnerabilities, which ports are open or which ports are not secured. Okay. So error detection. So from time to time the operating system checks the system for any kind of external threat or malicious software activity. So there is the detection. If your antivirus program you have downloaded, so in a fixed period of time regularly it will update or scan your whole computer, whole memory area, and also when you are working it will checks all the file before downloading, that whether it contains any virus or malicious code or not. So it will give you the proper message. So it checks the hardware for any, it checks the hardware also. Okay, or your, now we move on to the next. It checks the hardware for any type of damage. Suppose there is a that hardware is not working, so it checks that also and it displays the suitable message. So in this process it displays a number of alerts to the user. User will get the proper alert and against any flaw or damage caused to the system. Sometimes also you get your PC is at risk, your computer is going to turn off or it is going to update. Sometimes it happens when you are working. Next is the job scheduling, another work of the operating system, function of the operating system. So in a multitasking operating system where multiple programs run at the same time, that is the job scheduling. So operating system determines which application should run in which order and by how much time should be allocated for each application, in turn which I have discussed earlier in the process management. So that is the job scheduling, means job assigning to the CPU, and that decision is taken by the operating system. It also takes care of that any application should not go in the starvation state, means it is waiting in a queue for the CPU but it haven't got the CPU in 2 hours, 3 hours or 4 hours. Okay. So this is all for today. So in the next class we will discuss about the types of the operating system. So in your syllabus also maybe till lesson 1 to 4 will come in the this coming exam. It is the first unit test. Okay, so till that I have given you the question answers on the Google Classroom. I have uploaded the answers of the lesson 1, 2, 3 and 4. Write down all the questions answer in your notebook and prepare it for the exam. Okay. So in the next class we will discuss about the types of operating system. So and in one or two classes, in two classes we will complete this chapter 4. Okay. So thank you for attention and prepare well for the exam. Okay.